Welcome to the third part of the Hunger Games analysis, where I will break down chapter by chapter what takes place in Mockingjay, the third book of the Hunger Games series. And please like, subscribe, and comment below for more creative content on this channel. Chapter 1. Katniss returns to District 12 to see it in ruins. She blames herself for her district's downfall. Katniss takes a few possessions from her house, including Buttercup. President Snow had left a white rose for Katniss. Chapter 2. Caesar was interviewing Peeta about the events in the Quarter Quell. He describes how terrifying it was in that arena. Peter's last wish was to save Katniss. Katniss and Peeta were trying to keep each other alive during the Quarter Quell. Peeta is calling for a ceasefire. The District 13 people calling Peeta a traitor, liar, and enemy. This is what makes Katniss decide to become the Mockingjay. Chapter 3. Katniss would be the Mockingjay if her family could keep the cat. Hunt with Gale in the woods. When the war is done and won, Peeta, Joanna, and Noberia and Annie would be pardoned, no punishment inflicted. Katniss demands coin that she will announce it to the entire population of 13, or else they will have to find another Mockingjay. And she gets the kill stuff. Chapter 4. They all gather together for Coin's public announcement. Coin announces that Katniss will be the Mockingjay, performing her duties, as well as pardon for Peeta, Joanna, Annie, and Noberia. Chapter 5. Beetee shows Katniss and Gale their newly made weapons. Katniss, doing the propo scene, does a terrible job. Haymitch comes in. And that, my friend, is how a revolution dies. Chapter 6. Haymitch takes over the meeting at his own expense. I want everyone to think of one incident where Katniss Everdeen generally moved you. I want to hear one moment where she made you feel something real. Volunteered for Sister, sung for Rue when she died, drugs Peter to save his life. All of those incidents, no one told Katniss what to do or say. Haymitch is suggesting to throw Katniss in the middle of combat and keep the cameras rolling, because that's what the people respond to. Chapter 7. They arrive in District 8 where there was a bombing. They go into the hospital. The District 8 people seeing that Katniss Everdeen is alive. Bombers were coming. The target is the hospital where many are wounded. The hospital got bombed. Katniss takes her stand that she is alive at the hospital bombing in District 8, and that they must fight back. And if we burn, you burn with us. Chapter 8. Katniss watches the newest propo until they see a Capitol special segment. Peeta's physical transformation shocks Katniss. Peeta says that the rebels are using her. Chapter 9. They arrive to District 12 to do unscripted interviews with Gale and Katniss. They're at the meadow. Katniss sings The Hanging Tree. She had been recording singing The Hanging Tree. Beetee working on breaking into the Capitol system to air the propos. An interview featuring President Snow and Peeta highlighting the damage done in the districts. The dam destroyed a derailed train with toxic waste spilled from the take cars. Rebel action. Beetee had broken into the Capitol system. Peeta questions Katniss, how would this end? What would be left? Tells that 13 would be dead by morning. Chapter 10. Haymitch tells everyone that Peeta was warning them. Coin seems unalarmed. 13 is under a level 5 security drill. Prim tells Katniss that 13 is going to train her to be a doctor. Chapter 11. Katniss is called to the command and have to film what happened above ground. There are a ground full of roses meant for Katniss. Snow is punishing Peeta because Katniss is the Mockingjay. Haymitch informs Katniss of a volunteer-only mission to rescue Peeta, Annie, and Joanna. Chapter 12. Haymitch tells Katniss and Finnick that they're back. They see Joanna, who has a shaved head. Katniss runs to Gale. Annie calls Finnick's name. Box tells Katniss that Peeta is at the end of the hall. Peeta sits on the side of the bed. In disbelief, he gets to his feet, going towards Katniss. She goes to hug him, his hands reaching for her with his fingers locked around Katniss's throat. Chapter 13. Katniss is in the hospital wearing a neck brace. Peeta has been hijacked. Hijacking is a type of fear conditioning, meaning to capture or seize. The technique was the use of tracker-jacker beta, which results in terror, hallucinations, nightmarish visions that targets the part of the brain that holds fear. Something new is being tried on Peeta. Dally goes to see Peeta. Plutarch, Haymitch, and Katniss watch in the observation room across from where Peeta was being held. Peeta makes the assumption that Katniss was a mutt made by the Capitol to go against everyone. Chapter 14. Katniss and the crew are at District 2 going over a plan taking the nut. Gale suggests they bomb the mountain to trap District 2 inside to join the rebels. Gale has no interest in preserving the lives of those in the nut. It was one of his death traps. Chapter 15. Evening, they wait at the Justice Building for their target. Gale's plan worked, setting the explosions off in the mountains, causing avalanches. A pair of trains come with armed men. Katniss sees one of them hurt as she goes towards him and a gun pointing at her head. Katniss reasons to the man why he shouldn't kill her, and that she is sick of being a piece in their games. Katniss tells them who the enemy is, then asks District 2 to join them, but Katniss gets shot. Chapter 16. Katniss is back in District 13 hospital. Joanna goes towards Katniss, detaching the morphine drop from Katniss's arm, plugging it in her own. Katniss saying that Joanna should have been the Mockingjay, but Joanna says that no one likes her. Gale tells Katniss that they got District 2 on the rebel side. Finnick and Annie's wedding takes place. Haymitch tells Katniss that Peeta wants to talk with her. Katniss went to see Peeta. He observes her instead of losing control. His voice is mostly the same, except an edge of suspicion and reproach. Peeta mentions that he remembers the bread, which went back to the day when Katniss was in the ring. He mentions the games to Gale. Katniss walks out. Chapter 17. Coin is not allowing Katniss to go to the Capitol, but would fly her for the surrender. Katniss reasons that the Capitol destroyed her district, that's why she wants to go. Coin gives her 3 weeks to train, and that will determine if she goes or not. Chapter 18. Katniss is assigned with a special unit with Boggs, Gale, Finnick, and 5 others. Plutarch informs about the pods on the Capitol grounds, from a bomb to a band of mutts designed to trap or kill them. Finnick says, "Ladies and gentlemen, let the 76 Hunger Games begin." The newest member of their squad arrives, Peeta. Coin had inside him. Coin decided that Katniss is more used to her dead than alive. Katniss talks to Boggs, and they both know that Coin wants her dead. They go down the street while being recorded until a pod activates and that the coast was clear. Boggs goes on checking the next pod. He steps on a paving stone. A bomb triggers that blows off his legs. Chapter 20. Katniss gets to Boggs and he transfers the hollow to her. Black oil begins filling the streets and they run inside a building. Peter goes hijack trying to go after Katniss. Mitchell holds him back but ends up being pushed into the black oil by Peeta. Jackson orders Katniss to hand over the hollow but refuses. Katniss says that she's on a special mission for President Coy to assassinate President Snow. The black goo spreads until it eventually stops. A Capitol report identifying Gale Finnick, Boggs, Peeta, Cressida, and Katniss by name. The coverage continues where peacekeepers cause an explosion of apartment buildings that collapse. Chapter 21. The screen turns on, showing Snow congratulating the peacekeepers for the death of the Mockingjay. President Coy suddenly appears, cutting Snow off. Praising Katniss, and either dead or alive, she is the face of the rebellion. They must go underground. They go down to the sewers. Pollux knows his way around the Capitol sewers as he takes the lead. There's a hissing sound, a single word echoing through the tunnels over and over again. Katniss. Chapter 22. Peeta begins to stir again until Katniss positions her arrow to him, then he's alarmed. They're on the run again. The months are behind them. They won't stop until they get to Katniss. They are at the intersection called Meat Grinder. Golden light radiates from ceiling to floor. Masala was still a statue as the flash melts off his body like candle wax. White four-limbed mutts continue chasing them. They need to find the quickest way above ground. Jackson and League One were missing because they stayed to hold the mutts back. They climbed a ladder. Katniss hears a human cry trying to help, but Gale denies her. Below, Finnick is struggling to hang on. Katniss takes out the hollow and says Nightlock 3 times, releasing it as the explosion rocks the platform. Pollux, Gale, Cressida, Peeta, and Katniss are left. Peeta had blacked out from reality. Katniss gets him back to his senses. Cressida knows a place where they could hide. They meet Tyrus, who was a former stylist for the games. She allows them in her place. Gale and the others all knew Katniss was lying about Coy sending her to assassinate President Snow. When Peeta gives his opinion, he said that they knew what they were doing and believed that Katniss could really kill President Snow. They are 5 blocks from the city circle and Snow's mansion. Chapter 24. Snow allowing refugees into the mansion. Katniss and Gale blends in with the refugees. Peacekeepers directed the flow of human traffic. Gunfire disrupts them and people panic and try to take cover. A pod activates, releasing a gust of steam, leaving plenty dead and wounded. Katniss and Gale eventually get separated. Katniss gets to the city circle, and across is the president's mansion full of people. Children huddle together, guarded by peacekeepers for Snow's protection. The children form his human shield. The rebels are near. A hovercraft marked with the Capitol seal was directly over the children. Silver parachutes rained down on them. They scooped them up. 5 seconds later, it explodes. Many of the children died immediately. Rebel medics go towards the children. Katniss sees Prim as she shouts her name. For a moment, she sees Katniss, and then the rest of the parachutes go off. Chapter 25. Katniss is on fire. Katniss realizes she's in the hospital being treated from her injuries. Eventually released from the hospital and finds Snow in a terrible state. Snow was sorry for the loss of Prim. He was going to surrender when they released the parachutes. He questions Katniss if he had made that order. A masterful move on Coy's part. Snow was slow to grasp Coy's plan. Snow was watching Katniss, and she was watching him. They have both been played for fools. Chapter 26. Katniss back in her room, Gale enters. He holds a single arrow, which is supposed to be symbolic. Katniss questions if the bomb was Gale's. He doesn't know. His only intention was taking care of her family. Then he leaves her side. Katniss and the remaining victors are called for a meeting with Coin. Coin asks them to settle a debate. A majority vote would approve the plan to have a final Hunger Games using capital children. This being Coin's idea. The city circle rounds everyone. Katniss gets in position with her bow and arrow. The point of her arrow shifts upward, and Coin collapses over the side of the balcony. To the ground. Katniss has been held prisoner in the mansion. Haymitch tells Katniss that they are going home. When Katniss and Haymitch return to District 12, it's nearly empty. When Katniss left her house to go hunting, she sees Peeta. Thank you for watching the Hunger Games analysis. Hopefully you learned something new, and I'll see you in the next video.